Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. Welcome to the Product Management View webinar series. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. And if at any time during the conference you need to reach an operator, please press *0. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded Wednesday, September 16th, 2009. And I would now like to turn the conference over to Val Workman. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Chantel. To those participating through ReadyTalk, Twitter, and those who will be reviewing this webinar in the podcast or flash presentation later, hello. I'd like to welcome you to this new session of the Product Management View series. I'm Val Workman from RYMA Technology Solutions, one of the sponsors of this webinar. And if you'd like to present in this webinar series, you can propose a topic by sending me an email at workmanv@rymatech.com. And we'll try to get you on the air here. The PMV is all about providing access to your experiences and peers of the community, new ideas, issues, and approaches within our community of product management. Today, the PMV is the world's largest free repository of product management recordings. I'd like to thank ReadyTalk for their generous support of this effort, and welcome Holly back with us from ReadyTalk, who continues to support our efforts and make sure that these things come out flawlessly. She'd love any feedback you can provide to her. I'll be your moderator today, and it's my pleasure to welcome David Locke, who will be presenting, and this is an error in our advertisement. It's Align to Lead, using strategic alignment, and is sponsored by one of the syndicated communities of practice, the Strategic Alignment COP. You can participate in this community of practice through LinkedIn, and I had an opportunity to have lunch with David a while back now. I think David, a couple of months anyways, and he was passing through Austin. He's an interesting guy with a lot of varied background, and normally I disagree with everything he says, and that makes a lot of fun over lunch. However, I found that his thoughts are normally well thought out and developed, and you'll have a hard time winning an argument. Even if you disagree with what he presents today, I know he'll make some strong points that you can't ignore, and it's going to be worth your time. He always does. For those of you who are using Twitter, you can follow and add additional conversation and questions using the Twitter hashtag #PMV during this webinar, and continue conversation after the webinar. Today's Twitter PMV conversation will be posted afterwards on the Product Management Views blog post. I'd like to encourage you to make comments and ask additional questions on this post. I'll also be collecting questions throughout the presentation to address during the question and answer session at the end of this webinar. Please feel free to send your questions to me in the chat that ReadyTalk provides in the lower left corner. And with that, I'm going to pass the control over to David now, who's going to kick off this presentation. David, before we get started here, could you let the audience know what is the most important thing in today's presentation that they could walk away with?
Well, you need to align to lead. And when we do that, that takes care of strategic alignment.
Oh, that makes it simple.
Right. So we'll start with a couple of questions. Strategy alignment. Who does that? Do we do that in a 5-person startup? Do we do that in a 51-person firm? Do we do that in a public company with a worldwide staff? If you mean do we do communications, vision, mission statements, orientations, quarterlies, MBOs, metrics, balanced scorecards, dashboards? Maybe not. It's a matter of degree. But across all scales, we do align. We align to lead. When the business books talk about strategic alignment, it's an attempt to squeeze out the productivity lost to a lack of alignment. Since on average a firm's people are only aligned 40% of the time or less, there is much to be gained by boosting strategic alignment. The goal is 100% productivity. And living on the fault line, Moore talked about what to outsource. He partitioned the organization's capabilities into 3 categories: in-offer, out-of-offer, and mission-critical. At some scale, every functional unit